Welcome back to the Business Enhancement Series, presented by Efficiency United and Semco Energy Gas Company. This next section is going to focus on developing systems to support a consistent level of customer service and expectation fulfillment. Well, we call it mission-critical customer service strategies. These next 3 slides examine the factors associated with how customers' perceptions of what's expected of us and how we meet those expectations colors the impression of customer service. So multiple factors go into the customer service aspect of the business. First factor is what they expect. Why are they coming to you? What pain do they think you're going to have the solution for? They have a particular need that they want filled. Their need isn't necessarily the product you provide. Example, you don't hire a limousine service for a ride. You want luxurious, worry-free transportation to a special event. We talked about this in the last section. What are some of the needs that your customers want from you? They don't want an energy-efficient installation. They want an installation that will give them what? The next factor is how well we meet the customer's unspoken need. We need not only to provide the customer with the service they want, but do it in a way that meets the needs they have. If we can't provide the whole solution, we need to partner with someone who can. If we want them to truly be happy, we need to exceed those expectations. No one raves about a company that just meets their expectations. Seriously, check the testimonials on your business or any business. You need to talk with ABC Company. They are completely adequate. If you need an electrical contractor, Bob Smith will barely meet your expectations. I'd probably recommend them if you can't find anyone better. If we want them to rave about us, we need to exceed their expectations in some way. Most of that has to do with the non-product aspects of our service. Products are commodities. How do we bring those products to them and make them valuable? It's also not sufficient just to do this once. We must be consistent in the level of our service. Let's take a hypothetical example, an electrical contractor. The contractor calls up in person the day before to confirm appointment and gives us a specific time they'll be there on site. On the day, they show up right on time with 3 technicians and explain that this is the most effective way to make sure the job is done properly. One to do the work, one to get tools and materials as needed, and the other to final check and sign off. The next time, same contractor calls up the morning of the job to confirm and gives a 2-hour window when they'll be there. They arrive at the midpoint of the window. This time they only have 2 technicians. They explain that this is the best way because one focuses on the work while the other gets the tools and does the final sign-off on the work. The next time, there's a robocall the day before with a 4-hour window and so on. Even though the work is getting done in a timely manner, how does the customer feel about this? There's no consistency. How can we best cope with these 3 factors? So how do you want to be differentiated? We need to know what our customers expect of us. And when we know that, we can decide what to do to stand out. For example, if all our customers want is the lowest price, we probably won't need to focus as much on customer support. Good example, online electronics purchases. Relatively cheap, but really no customer support. So if you want to be known as the lowest price for the product, you are the cheapest one out there. Example, Walmart. What perceived need are you addressing with this differentiator? What about your systems? Everything we do is to lower our cost and pass it on to the customer. What are the downsides of selecting this as your differentiator? Well, you got thin margins. There's really not much as far as customer loyalty, and you often have to do just as much work with the cheap clients as you would with a client that's paying full price. What about premium value or luxury? You're selling the premium price, high-end products. So what perceived need does this meet? Customers maybe buy for the name. They want to be able to brag. Are you a Rolex or a Jaguar or a Bose sound system? The challenge is to build your brand name to be a luxury brand. The downside is luxuries tend to be the first things that get set aside in an economic downturn. So what about innovation, being on the cutting edge? This tends to focus on high-end, tech-filled gadgets, fads. But what is the perceived need that this differentiator meets? It appeals to early adopters, for example, Apple. This forces you to always be on the lookout for the latest gadget and to have to learn how to install and maintain it. The downside means you're always running. You can't really rest for any time. New companies coming out with new products, and your new technologies may cut into revenue from your own existing intellectual properties. How about customer support as a differentiator? Everything is customer support focused. You have to be the expert in what you sell, and you have to be willing to share that expertise. You'll be spending more on personnel to deal with customers on a daily basis. So the downside there is people are becoming so focused on the bottom line that they're willing to pay a cheap price and then still complain about customer support. But the upside is those are willing to pay tend to be hugely loyal and more willing to become evangelists for your company. How about a niche service? You focus on the needs of a very narrow target market. So here's an anecdotal example. A young insurance agent attends a dog show with his girlfriend. He doesn't want to be there. Chuckles about how much care these dogs get until his girlfriend tells him that these dogs are worth tens of thousands of dollars or more. He takes an interest in the insurance issues with show dogs and ends up making a lot of money because top show dog owners come to him as the only insurance person who understands their issues. So what are some of the downsides there? Well, you not only have to know your product now, but you have to know the details of the community that you're serving. And so anything that hurts that community in turn hurts you. But as an upside, when you become a servant of a niche group, your name spreads within that niche group. So no matter which one of these you choose, you're going to have a system that needs to be in place in order to support the business that you're creating. No matter what the customer experience, we want to be consistent. And the most successful companies have a system for consistency. Of course, McDonald's. So what systems does McDonald's have? Well, of course, food preparation, site cleaning, maintenance, renovations, all sorts of different systems. Disney, what systems do they have? They figure out the distance to a garbage can based on how long it took somebody to consume a hot dog purchased at a cart just down the road. Why have this system? Well, Walt Disney's goal was to create a clean, friendly environment for families. There's training of cast members, traditions, and of course, Disney University. Disney has systems to gather information they need to create new systems. Southwest Airlines, another good example. Their system is to make it as cheap as possible. They all use the same type of planes, which allows them to have the same procedures for maintenance, flight, loading, unloading, etc. What about Apple? What systems do they have? How many generations of iPhone do they have mapped out? How many versions of the operating system do they have? How many generations of computers do they have? What's your system? It starts by coming up with systems that can help make your business run more effectively and, of course, more efficiently. So, first you need to have an idea of the experience your customers expect you to provide. Once you have an idea on that, what systems do you need to support it? So, where are you not meeting your customers' expectations? If you're working a site and consistently running out of parts, that's a system that can be solved. How do your customers expect to be kept informed on the progress of any project? Where are you not meeting your own expectations? Do you need more employees? Do you need a better system to find good employees? Do your employees require more training? Are you up on the latest technologies for energy efficiency? Is your back office running smoothly? Your system is going to evolve over time. We talked earlier about all the steps from initial meeting to finished project. So pick any of those areas where you aren't operating at a level you feel comfortable with. Maybe it's a crisis level problem. You have safety issues, quality assurance issues, customer service issues, failure to deliver clients' expectations on a regular basis. Maybe it's just inefficiency. You're not getting jobs done as quickly as you'd like. You're showing up to jobs with the wrong tools. You're not getting an accurate description of the job before it starts. Pick those problems and solve your pain. Suppose you're not getting the right information for your residential jobs. Could you develop a system for your inbound phone calls to make sure that you gather that information? Probably. There are 4 components to examine for these solutions. So you've got the physical aspects, so the materials you're using, the vehicles you drive, the tools you need. And of course the organizational, which is, do you need to add people? Does someone already on your staff need to be tasked with certain responsibilities? And for other problems, you might need technicians, back office staff, or sales team. On your process, if you don't have the information you need for a job, where is it coming from? How are they gathering the information? Does the person taking the call have a script? Do you have a pull list for the parts or tools needed for a job? And then communication, where it all can break down. How is the information being delivered to you, and when is it getting to you? When do you need to get the information to best be prepared? And is there a feedback loop to let the office staff know if information was missing, or let the warehouse crew know there were parts or materials missing? It's not going to be perfect right away, but if your systems involve feedback to improve that same system, it's just going to get better and better. What it really boils down to is treating the cause and not the symptom. What does that mean? Well, you don't just put a bandage on the problem. For instance, in our example of missing parts on the job site, a system that addresses just the symptom would be organize the delivery vehicle to have all the parts you could ever need no matter what kind of job you're doing. Better to analyze the whole system. Well, that may not be practical. Maybe it's the phone script. Maybe it's the warehouse that needs a part-time employee to load the trucks in the morning because everyone's too busy. These are more about treating the cause. When we just try to fix the symptom, we end up fighting all the fires at once. We don't have enough parts in the warehouse, so we go buy parts. We're reacting to the problem instead of what we need to ask, that is, why don't we have enough parts? Whose responsibility is it to order them, and how do they know it's time to order new parts? These are addressing the cause. So there are 2 big mistakes that people seem to make when they're developing and improving their systems. As we've seen, systems can go a long way towards us providing a consistent level of customer service. When dealing with systems, though, there are 2 major mistakes. Problem number 1, they don't use them in the first place. Well, systems don't work if nobody uses them. Those who don't use systems end up spending their time putting out fires. They're reacting to every problem and every opportunity. What about the safety issues? If you don't have a system to make sure the electricity stays off when you're working on it, I think you can fill in the blank there. Quality problems, wrong parts, wrong tools, missing parts. These are all because of a lack of system. Delivery. If you're being inefficient, how likely are you to make the deadlines that you set forth? The other major problem is paralysis of analysis. Yes, they plan a perfect system and wait to do anything until they've figured out the perfect system. There is no perfect system. Start doing things that are good enough and then have that system in place to help make it better. Inherent in any good system is that feedback loop, so the system continues to improve. In the next section, we're going to be talking about communicating with your customers. We'll discuss mechanisms to improve customer communication in all the stages of the customer-vendor relationship. As we continue the Business Enhancement Series presented by Efficiency United and Semco Energy Gas Company. Click on the next section entitled Communicating with Customers.